You were given this question and you were asked to find the ratios of sine C. They've indicated which angle they want you to refer to. So let's label in relation to angle C. How would I label the three sides of the triangle? We can start with the hypotenuse. That will never change. Doesn't matter which angle you're referring to, the hypotenuse never changes. The hypotenuse is always across from the right angle. So let's label that as hypotenuse. Now in relation to angle C, okay, we're going to do A, B, and C first because all of them refer to angle C. Let's label the sides. Is AB opposite or adjacent to angle C? Opposite, good. And is BC adjacent or opposite or hypotenuse? Adjacent. Okay, so we know that the adjacent side has a measurement of 10 units, the hypotenuse is 17.2 units, and the opposite side is 14 units. Now, all you have to do is write the ratio. So the first one, they want to know the sine ratio. Okay? Sine ratio is equal to opposite over hypotenuse. So we look at, we've already labeled it, that was the hard part. Which side is opposite? 14 over 17.2, and we can turn that into a decimal. What is 14 divided by 17.2? You don't have to, but what is it? 0.8139. Is that what you said? Okay, either answer I'll accept. I'll accept just this is fine. Just write the ratio. Okay, that's it. What is the tan ratio? Let's look at SOHCAHTOA. Tan ratio is equal to? Adjacent. What letter is that? O. A. Tan ratio is opposite over adjacent. So where is the opposite side? Which side is opposite? 14 over. Which side is adjacent? That's it. That's all I'm looking for. 14 over 10 is the ratio. And the last one, cosine ratio is equal to adjacent over adjacent is 10. Hypotenuse is 17.2. Okay, so SOHCAHTOA helps you remember the three trig ratios. Sine ratio equals, just look at the acronym. O stands for opposite over, what's H? Hypotenuse. Okay, so if you write down SOHCAHTOA, you'll remember the order to write the ratio in. C is the cosine ratio. What is that equal to? Adjacent over hypotenuse. And then we have the tan ratio. Opposite over adjacent. Good. Now you have to remember what those sides refer to. Okay? The right angle will help you figure out where the hypotenuse is. Always label the hypotenuse first. It's the easiest one to remember. It's always located across from the right angle, and it's the longest side of the triangle, okay? So that is always the hypotenuse. So if you have your right angle triangles, look for the right angle, and then you know that this side has to be the hypotenuse, okay? Now, to figure out where the opposite and the adjacent sides are, it's in reference to whatever angle they indicate. That's what the important part is. So I'm going to label this triangle A, B, C, okay? So if I want you to find one of the missing side lengths, well, you need to know what to label the side lengths as. So they will always indicate an angle. So in relation to angle A, which side is opposite and which side is adjacent angle A? Which side is opposite angle A? There's angle A. Which side is opposite angle A? This side, BC, or AB? Which side is opposite? Okay, so you label that first. It's always in relation to the angle indicated. okay? Side AB is adjacent because it's touching, it forms the angle. Whichever side forms the angle, that's the adjacent side. Adjacent means lying next to. It's next to the angle. It's touching the angle. If I ask you to label the triangle in relation to angle C, then it's going to be different. In relation to angle C, this side, AB, would be opposite. It changes. It depends on which angle they're indicating. So let's try this one. I'll call this A, B, C. And I'm going to ask you, in relation to angle A, label the sides of the triangle. Which side is opposite angle A? BC, good. Which side is adjacent? AB, because AB, this side touches the angle. It's next to the angle, it forms the angle. Last question, you're asked to find angle A. So again, Stacy, they told us that we are referring to angle A. Now this is different from the previous question. That's why I redrew the triangle. Previously we labeled the sides in relation to angle C. Now we need to relabel them in relation to angle A. Where's the hypotenuse? Did that change? No. What is it? Okay, in relation to angle A, which side is opposite? 10. Good. 10 is opposite. It doesn't touch the angle. Which side touches the angle? 14. So that's adjacent. Okay, so we can actually use any ratio. So, Toa, we can use the sine ratio. Shh. We can use the sine ratio because we have the opposite and the hypotenuse. We have both side lengths. If you were missing a side length, you can't use any ratio. But in this case, we have all the side lengths. We can use cosine because we have adjacent and hypotenuse, or we can use the tan ratio because we have the opposite and adjacent sides. If you don't have all the sides, you have to figure out which two sides do you have. Let's say you only had opposite and hypotenuse, you can only use the sine ratio. Okay? So pick a ratio. Which one do you guys want to use? Cosine? Cosine ratio is, oops. Yes. Cosine ratio is equal to adjacent over hypotenuse. So we're trying to figure out the missing angle, cos A. Okay? So what is the adjacent side length? 14 over, what's hypotenuse? So yes, okay, I'm going to show you how to find the angle. The first thing you need to do is calculate this as a decimal. What is 14? So write out the steps right now. 14 divided by 17.2 is equal to what? Okay, we'll round it to 4 decimal places, 0.8140. Is that the angle? Is angle A equal to 0.8140? That's the ratio. This is important. Write down the steps. How do you figure out the angle? What do you have to punch in on your calculator? You need to look at your calculator. You're either going to have a button that says second or one that says shift. Look at your calculators right now. You're going to push that button. You're going to hit shift or second. And I don't know what order your calculator works in. They're all different. You need to punch in the ratio. So shift, we're working with cos. So that's the ratio we're working with. So second cos 0.814 equals. That will give you the angle. So you should get an answer of, let's round it to the nearest tenth, 35.5. So our answer is angle A equals approximately 35.5 degrees.